They are the insiders, Chris Johnston, Pierre LeBrun, and Darren Dreger. Gentlemen, Ryan O'Reilly was drawing a lot of attention before he broke his foot, but the word is he should be ready to play again before the trade deadline. So is the talk beginning to heat up again, Darren?
Yeah, I would say that's fair, Gino. I mean, the Ryan O'Reilly speculation started prior to the beginning of the NHL regular season, and it has continued, but the Blues have reached a point now in the regular season where they genuinely want to gauge the interest around the National Hockey League and the star pending unrestricted free agent forward. Now, we know he's hurt. He's going to be out for a while, and it's still early because the St. Louis Blues, like all clubs who are looking at a playoff picture, don't know if they're willing yet to go all in. But the ask for Ryan O'Reilly is going to be similar to what normally would be for a player of this stature. You're talking about a draft pick, you're talking about a prospect. The draft pick could be determined by the quality of the prospect. So it is, again, still early, but Ryan O'Reilly is officially in play.
Timo Meier, unlike Ryan O'Reilly, Dregs, is not your prototypical rental player because he's not UFA July 1st. He's technically an RFA, but also has a $10 million qualifying offer, and that has some teams that really like him a bit concerned about how they can navigate that. And it's why I think some teams are hoping that the Sharks give permission to Meier's camp, led by agent Claude Lemieux, to speak directly to teams to see if this could be a type of trade where there's an extension that's part of it. That has not happened yet. Claude Lemieux has not gotten that permission. It's also not out of the question the Sharks try to sign him, but it should be noted they have not yet put an offer on the table to Timo Meier since the start of the season, so it doesn't look too likely there. Obviously, the contenders, I mean, Toronto would make sense. Carolina has some interest because, again, they see Meier as a long-term fit. But also a team like the Buffalo Sabres has reached out to San Jose. This could be a type of player that has interest from teams that are not even sitting in a playoff spot. So kind of a unique case here with Timo Meier.
With so much cap congestion around the league as we get close to this deadline, I think a lot of teams will be looking for value. And where they might find it is by looking at the Chicago Blackhawks and Max Domi. Now, Domi this season has played center, showing some versatility, moving over from the wing. He's put up pretty good numbers. And maybe the most important number of them all is $3 million, because that is Max Domi's cap hit for this year on an expiring contract, much cheaper than a lot of the other players that teams might be looking at to plug into a top 6 or maybe a top 9 forward role. It's gone so well in Chicago. I think Max Domi would be happy to stay there and think about a contract extension. But with where the Blackhawks are at, they've got to gauge the market and will likely move on from him.
Given the fact the Sens aren't really in the hunt for a playoff spot, it would be easy to see them as sellers. But could we see them shopping as well, Darren?
Yeah, they could do a little bit of both, Gino. I know that Pierre Dorian, the GM for the Sens, is out west primarily. He's there for the CHL Prospects game Wednesday in Langley, but on the eve of the Prospects game, Dorian is going to take in the Hawks and the Vancouver Canucks game. He's still looking for a defenseman. Yeah, in a perfect world, it'd be a defenseman with some term, but he's interested in unrestricted free agents. Maybe there's an opportunity to sign that player, or if he gets it early enough, maybe trade that defenseman leading up to the March 3rd trade deadline. But Dorian is also exploring all of the Ottawa Senators' unrestricted free agents, including goaltender Cam Talbot.
It's always interesting to talk about the buyers and sellers at the deadline, but sometimes buyers can find themselves a little shy in the currency department. Is that the case in Tampa, Pierre?
Yeah, it is. Although, the Tampa Bay Lightning have a way of trying to lower expectations ahead of the trade deadline and the last 3 years going out and getting players. But in speaking with Julian Brisebois for a piece I have coming out tomorrow in The Athletic, he doesn't have a first-round pick this year. He doesn't have a first-round pick next year. He doesn't have a second-round pick. So he says he doesn't have the assets to make a big splash. So he's looking more at sort of a Nick Paul type acquisition. Remember, he got Paul last year at the deadline. The one thing I asked him, the Leafs and the Bruins, what if they make a big splash? And Brisebois said he's not going to let that affect his line of thinking before the deadline.
Speaking of the Leafs, while the Leafs are still shopping, they're also trying to take care of some internal matters, Chris?
Yeah, just a little something to keep an eye on. They do have some interest, it's believed, in extending Connor Timmins to a contract. He's a pending restricted free agent acquired in November from Arizona. Been a nice fit since he's come over to Toronto and been quite productive in his time. So we'll see if they can get something done there.
All right, then. The Leafs are looking to buy and looking to take care of things within their organization. A lot going on between now and the deadline. They are the insiders, Chris Johnston, Pierre LeBrun, and Darren Dreger.